Max Verstappen, and making it a hat-trick of pole positions and a total of 7 for this 2025 season. Our pole sitter, Lando Norris. Many congratulations, Lando. What a session, what a final lap. Can you start by describing how tough it was out there in those conditions?
Pretty nasty. Probably some of the worst, not like the worst conditions. It's been wetter. It's just, it feels like you may as well have been out on slicks, to be honest. It was so slippery. Difficult, like the amount of wheel spin you have in places, how easy it was to lock tires, the white lines and yellow lines, and just everything was pretty tough. So yeah, I mean, even more satisfied with the end result because of how tricky it was out there today. But some good laps, just to keep it controlled, keep it in a good manner through Q1, through Q2, and obviously risk a little bit more into Q3, and it paid off. So very happy.
In which part of the track did you have to be most cautious?
Between 1, 2, 3. I mean, the braking zones are all quite tricky. Obviously, it's a long lap, and then you get to quite a very difficult last corner. Turn 14, big stop, easy to lock the front tires, easy to kind of just want to brake, 5 meters later, 10 meters later. And then you got the curbs. A lot of people crashed there and made mistakes, spun. I was close to doing it on my final lap. There was just different bits around the track. It was quite weird. Like, some bits felt actually okay. Some bits felt just shockingly slippery and difficult to manage, to control the car, the wheel spin, everything, So random bits. But the big braking zone, especially the final corner on a quali lap, is the most daunting, I would say.
With the track conditions improving all the time in Q3, just how difficult was it to get the timing of your runs right?
It was tricky, especially because there's always the risk of safety of yellow flags and also red flags here. I'm surprised there wasn't more in a way because of the difficulty of today. But we went out near the front, so I was pretty happy to wait a little bit longer down the end of the pit lane and just kind of have some clean air, stay out the way of everyone else behind. Try and avoid as much as possible the yellow flags and take that risk element out of it. And just kind of let me put some laps in, build the confidence in the car. Of course, I was, I think, the only one who got one more lap at the end of the run, and that worked out perfectly. I think we were still pretty good before, and then you had to get the timing of, I think we did like push, cool push or something, or push, cool push at the end. So, yeah, just making sure the battery was ready, making sure the tires were in good condition, and obviously having that chance to go one more lap than everyone else worked out perfectly. So, never easy on a day like today, but everything worked well.
Let's throw it forward now to the Grand Prix tomorrow. The forecast is for a dry race. In terms of performance, where does the car feel better this year than it did last year in Las Vegas?
Just everywhere in Las Vegas. Every corner, every straight, every bump. I proved myself wrong in terms of, the expectation was pretty low coming into this weekend. Even on Wednesday on the press conference then, I wasn't expecting too much, or my expectations, were definitely not high. So for us to show some good performance yesterday, this morning as well in practice, before some of the issues we had, I already felt pretty good, and I actually felt quite confident if it was going to be a dry quali, we would be challenging and it would be tight, but we could be challenging for pole. So when I woke up from my nap before quali, I wasn't too happy the fact that I saw it raining, because it's always just a bit more chaos, and never the most confident over the course of this year, especially at the beginning with these conditions with the car. It can be quite tricky at times, but from the first lap I actually felt pretty good in the car, and that turned into a good result.
We've just had a wet quali. Practice has been disrupted a lot. Just how much of an unknown is the race tomorrow?
Yeah, quite a bit. I don't think I've done more than 4 laps in a row, so I got no idea on kind of stints and things like that. So many questions, probably for everyone, I'm sure. Not many people have run the hard tire, that kind of thing, and I don't really know. So the pace has been strong. It's been better than it has been last year, that's for sure. So I expect to be fighting up there, but with Max, with Carlos, I'm sure they're both going to want to be pushing. It's good opportunities for them. So, it's going to be a long race. Many things can happen. Obviously, if it's dry, a bit more simple for everyone, I think. But in the best position that I can be, so happy for now.
All right, very well done to you. Thank you, Max. Let's come to you. Very well done to you as well. Can we start just by talking about the conditions from your point of view? How tricky was it for you in the Red Bull?
Yeah, it was super slippery with the track. It felt like ice. To be honest, not a lot of fun to do. I mean, I love driving in the wet, but this for me is a little bit too much, I would say. You just have to be super careful. And honestly, I was surprised that there were not too many incidents. So everyone was behaving, I think, quite well or scared. It's just not, whatever. I think we were a little bit more competitive on the extreme than the Inter. Just super hard to do a clean lap. People backing out, yellow flag, locking up yourself, 360, all of that. So we just went through qualifying without too many dramas, I would say. And to be on the front row is good. I mean, a bit unlucky, of course, with not having another lap. But I think if you look at the whole of Q3, we never really were in contention for pole anyway. So it's fine like this.
Well, how much were the conditions improving? Because I was going to say, if you'd had another lap, do you think Lando was within reach?
Well, it's not really, it doesn't unfortunately work like that. Of course, the track does dry up, and normally, lap after lap, you should be able to go faster, but there was no time. So I think if you look at the whole of Q3, we were never up there. We were never first. We were never quick enough, and to be second is fine.
All right, so that's qualifying. What about the race tomorrow? Are you confident in the pace of the car here in the dry?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to say. I mean, we didn't really do any proper long running in FP1. I did a little bit, which was not entirely to my liking. So I hope with the changes, of course, that we made since then, that it will be a little bit better. But I'm not expecting it to be, let's say, amazing. But I hope that we have a chance to do well.
All right, good luck with that. Thank you, Max. And Carlos, if we can come to you now. Brilliant job by you. Many congratulations. Just how good was that final lap, first of all?
Yeah, it was a very good lap. I thought I thought it was pole-worthy lap. Like when I closed the lap, I saw myself in P1, and then I realized I was the first car across the flag. And maybe that was not going to last very long with these two guys coming behind. But it felt a really good quali. If anything, I think we were more competitive on the X-Wet in Q1 and Q2. I wish it would have stayed the X-Wet, because that's the tire that gave me the best feeling and the best confidence. As every time we were hitting the board, we were P1. But on Inters, I was expecting to go slower, given our FP3 performance on Inter wasn't great. And in the end, it turned out to be just fine. In the end, it couldn't be.
Have you had a good feeling from the car from lap 1 this weekend?
Yeah, I've had a good feeling. It's just been very disrupted, and we've never been able to show ourselves or show our pace in the top of the timings. Obviously, in the dry, I don't think we would have been more than a P6, P5, P7, P8 in that range. The wet allowed us today to shine a bit more and to lead through stages of Q1, Q2, and Q3. I don't think in the dry that would have been possible, and I don't expect, if the race is dry tomorrow, to be able to hold on to P3. But I think in the wet we were definitely quick.
Carlos, you said that in Baku after qualifying.
Yeah, I said that in Baku, but in Baku I think the Mercedes, the McLarens were starting a bit far back. To be honest, I haven't had a look at the timesheets, but it's an easy place to overtake here, and let's see what I can do.
Look, final one from me. Can I just ask you about an incident with Lance Stroll in Q1? Just get your take on what happened as you were rejoining. Yeah,
I think I went straight in turn 5. I did one of the 100s, 360s, I think that 180s that people have to do around here. And I knew I was generating a yellow flag at the time, and I was just trying to get the yellow flag to stop as soon as possible and get myself back onto a track. So, because I guess Lance had a yellow flag with me I tried to rejoin as safely as I could, and and try to avoid giving more people a yellow flag in that sense. But I think we were all on build-ups. We were all trying to get the tire into temperature, all doing mistakes. It was the beginning of Q1 when I think some people were still on Inters, struggling to keep it on track, and that was me. And visibility also was extremely poor.
Okay, thanks for that explanation. Right, let's now open this to the floor. Please remember to give your name and publication. Luke.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Lando, just picking up on the conditions, can you talk a bit about just the sensation in the car? I know you've driven in the wet a lot in your career, but with all the lights, the lack of grip, how cold it is, just how much more difficult does it make it around this circuit?
Yeah, not enough lights around here, to be honest. Like, it wasn't the most wet session. It's like not really, some maybe little bits of aquaplaning and stuff. But the biggest, the hardest part of it all was just trying to avoid white lines. The yellow lines and just staying off the paint and stuff. The stuff that they can't really remove. I wish that they could, because it's quite a bit more just dangerous and tricky, especially when it's like Q1. It was so wet. Or wet enough that you can't really see where the lines are. Just the road markings, the zebra crossings, whatever it may be. You can't really see them at all, so you don't know where you're braking. It's easy just to instantly lock if you brake on the lines, and pretty dangerous from that point of view. So it's one of the challenges of just street tracks in general. It's the same like Australia, beginning of the year. But that certainly is like one of the biggest challenges. Just the curbs, just the lack of room for error around here is pretty tricky. The amount of people that made mistakes, like in 15-16, end of the lap, over the curbs, losing the rear. Then you got this massive yellow line that you have to try and avoid. My thoughts were generally just keep it in one piece for as long as possible. Even like the last corner here, it's fairly easy, flat in the dry. Not so easy in the wet conditions, and we had quite a bit of porpoising still, so it was very difficult to just get that confidence at all to go flat. And for the most of qualifying, my biggest loss was just the last kink to end the lap, but also then to start the following lap. So difficult, especially just because of the position I'm in, and knowing that I just need a good qualifying. I just need a simple one. Like I said, when I woke up from my nap, I was like, oh God, not what I was looking forward to. But, again, nice to prove to myself that I could go out and still perform well in those conditions. Could perform in the last couple laps and could do what I needed to do, So, again, the good feeling that I've had from the past few weekends has continued even into the rain. And that's one of the most reassuring things I've had for a while.
Thank you for that. Next. Yeah.
Thank you. Sahil Kapoor, NBC. A question for all three of you. How do you think about that last left-hander off the strip when it's raining, when it's slippery? Do you brake 30, 50, how many meters earlier than usual? And are you just waiting to see how much grip there is in the car before you do what's next?
Well, I'm just trying to explain it to people. It's very difficult because I don't think people know how, or you guys know how tricky actually conditions were today, how little grip with the low downforce wings, the low grip tarmac, the cold tires. I think Q1, lap 1, when we all went out on Inters, and the tires were just getting cold, and we should have been on X-wets, and we all boxed for X-wets. Those were the 2 laps that I was expecting 3 red flags in a row, because I couldn't keep it even flat out on the straight. I couldn't keep it. I couldn't see the white lines. I couldn't see people in front. I couldn't see people behind. It's chaos, and I don't think no one enjoys those moments, because when you cannot see and you don't feel the grip is very, very difficult. But then when it comes to Q3, I think it's more we're doing the incremental margins, like trying to predict how much drier the track is and how much extra grip we're going to get. But you're not braking more than maximum in a corner 5 meters later, 3 meters later, which when you arrive at 350, it's not like you can judge very well those 3 meters. You're more like guessing.
Anything to add?
No. Not really, no. Carlos, I think, said it pretty well. I think the tricky thing is always just when you're on a quali lap, you always want to brake, 5 meters later, and normally when you try and brake 5 meters later is when it can easily go wrong, So, the trickiest part was easily Q1. Just, like Carlos said, just trying to keep it on the track, not crash, not take yourself out. Because one day I just hope, apart from having a two-seater F1 car, people can get that sensation of just how nerve-wracking and scary it can be at times, how unpredictable. If you were to have, like we said, surprised that no one really had a crash, But if someone was to have a crash here, it could be a pretty huge crash, especially like 10, 11, before you go onto the strip. Even, like Carlos said, to go flat around like the tiniest kinks was pretty sketchy as well, even on lap 1. So, not the nicest of challenges for Formula 1, but it's the way it is.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect explanation from both drivers.
All right, thanks all. Next, Rodrigo.
Rodrigo França, Car Magazine Brazil. Question to Lando. Lando, congratulations on your pole. After winning in Brazil, you made a beautiful tribute to Gilles de Ferran. And could you please talk a little bit more about his importance in your career, please?
Gilles was in some ways a little mentor to me, from his experience of being a racing driver, a pretty damn successful racing driver. And then, when he joined McLaren, he was one of the key parts of kind of the big turnaround that we had over the last 3-4 years. He was one of the guys that was just, next to Zach and Andrea, so very high up, guiding, advising, giving his experience of things, trying to help out as much as possible. And I think one thing you always got from Gilles was just honesty, whether it was whether he made you feel like crap or he made you feel good. He was always just pretty honest, and he was the kind of guy that you could always accept those kind of comments from. If you had a bad day, he would say that was pretty bad. And but then he would understand the experience of things, the mentality of yourself as a driver, and he'd be able to help out. And he helped me for sure in many different situations over the last few years. So it was sad when we lost him, because I'm sure he'd be very proud of where we are today. He's very, very much part of our family at McLaren, and I would have loved if he could, experience the 2 constructors championships that we've got now, and obviously for us as drivers, fighting for the drivers championship. So he was a very special guy that achieved a lot in his career and was very helpful over the last few years for me as well. And just one of the guys you could always have a good laugh with. Even when you didn't have to talk about racing, you would just talk about life or parties or whatever it was, life away from Formula 1 and life away from the track. He was always a great guy to hang out with and have a good chat with. So I miss them. Therefore, in his home in Brazil was nice to think of him again.
Thank you, Lando. Any more? Yes.
Jesus Balseiro, the IOS. Question for Carlos. In Baku, you also had a pretty strong pace on Sunday. So what do you think you can race for tomorrow? And also, how much risk can you afford compared to Lando and Max, because they're fighting for the championship and you're not?
I think it will be more down to the pace rather than the risk. I think that anyone can afford. I'm also starting there up front, and it's a pretty good result if we can bring it home. So I think we're all more or less in similar positions. For me, it's more about trying to hold on to that P3 if I can, given that there will be very fast cars coming behind with the Mercs, another McLaren, Ferraris that were strong on the dry. So I'm gonna give it my best shot. I mean, you saw me in Baku or in Austin. When I'm up there fighting for the podium, I just try and not do mistakes and see if I can make myself as wide as possible and see if we can bring home a stronger than expected result. So I'll be pushing to make it happen.
Thank you, Carlos. Another one. Yeah, Andrew.
Andrew Benz, BBC Sport. Lando, I know you've been talking for ages about one race at a time, one lap at a time, etc. But what's your mindset going into the race, especially knowing Max can be pretty tasty going into the first corner?
Yeah, but I look forward to it. Excited for it. He's been quick, and I know. I think if you expect anything less, then you don't know what he's capable of, So yeah, I expect to battle through the whole race. But at the same time, I'm here to win. I'm not here to not take risks. I still want to go out and win tomorrow. So I'll be again making sure I can do everything that I can. But I just one step at a time still.